So I'm going to show you guys how to use beeswax wraps to make a great alternative to plastic wrap. So this is a beeswax wrap, and it's basically just a piece of cotton fabric covered in beeswax. They come in a variety of sizes, and they can be used for pretty much anything plastic can be. So one of the main things is if you have leftovers in a bowl, you just take the beeswax wrap, and the warmth of your hands warms the beeswax so it seals around the bowl, and it'll keep whatever you got in the bowl nice and fresh. You can just stick that in the fridge. You can do the same thing with a mug. Just wrap the wrap around the mug, and your hands will make it seal up good and tight. You can also use it just like you would plastic wrap for a sandwich, folding the wrap up around the sandwich. When you get to the last flap, the warmth from your fingers, just push that down the open seam, and the beeswax will stick to itself, giving you a nice tight seal to keep your sandwich nice and fresh. And another cool thing, because beeswax does stick to itself, you can fold it and it will stick right onto itself where you fold it. So if you pinch the corners and then fold them back, you can end up making yourself a nice little square basket out of your beeswax. And these things are great to stick berries or other leftovers in, and then you can just pop them right in the fridge. I don't have any berries right now, so my little basket is empty, but you get the idea. And if you lose the tops to your mason jars, these are really good to use in place of those because you get a nice tight seal on the top. And if you have the tops to your mason jars but can't get them off, beeswax wraps can also help with that because the beeswax gives you a nice solid grip on the top, makes it easier to open. And so you can use these for a bunch of different things. You can use them to cover melons, you can wrap soap or toothpaste in them when you're traveling so it doesn't spill. Basically anything that you would use plastic wrap or Ziploc bags for, you can use beeswax wraps for. So to clean them, you just rinse them off under the sink in cold water. Always want to use cold water. Don't use hot water because if you get it too hot, you'll end up melting the wax a little bit, which is not good. So you just rinse them off. If they're really dirty, you can take a dishcloth and very, very lightly clean them, a little bit of dish soap, but usually just cold water rinse is fine. And then you just hang them and leave them to dry. If they get to the end of their life after about a year or two, and they start to get worn, you can just put a little bit of baking paper on a cookie sheet and stick them in the oven. And you only want to do this for just a very few minutes, but it will soften the beeswax and fill in any gaps that have formed in the sheet. And then it'll give you a nice fresh sheet once again. When they get to the actual end of their life and you can't refresh them by sticking them in the oven anymore, you can just throw them on your compost pile, and because they're just beeswax covered cotton, they will biodegrade. So to store them, I like to store mine rolled. The one thing you don't want to do is fold them, so that's why I roll them. Just roll them into a little tube, because if you fold them, then it gets creases, which will shorten the life. You can also just store them flat in a drawer, but it takes more room, so I usually roll mine. And I just stick my little rolls in my utility drawer. So hopefully this will inspire you to give beeswax wraps a try in place of plastic yourself.